Lalu batu, perkenalkan nama saya dengan Aspat Colle dengan NIM 1X12403. Jadi pada video kali ini saya akan membahas terkait double terus. Dan jadi kita masuk eh, saja ke materinya, di mana in a single list, each node maintains a reference to the node that is immediately after it. The limitation of single linked list it is difficult to efficiently delete much of the tail of the list. More generally, we cannot efficiently delete and arbitrarily not from an internal position of the list if only given reference to the node. This is because we cannot determine the node that immediately precedes the nodes to be deleted, yet the node needs to have its next reference updated. The limitation of single linked list is overcome by a double linked list structure where each node keeps an explicit reference to the node before it and a reference to the node after it. This allows for one-time object operation, but for both for insertion and deletion are arbitrarily positioned within the list. In order to avoid some special case when operating near the boundaries of a double list, it helps to add special nodes at the point ends of the list, a header node at the beginning of the list, and a trailer node at the end of the list. These dummy dots called sentinels do not store elements for an empty list. The next field of the header points to the trailer, and the curved field of the trailer points to the header. The use of sentinels simplifies the logic of patient. The header and trailer nodes never change, only the nodes between them change. All insertion and deletion can be treated in an unbiased manner. A new node is being inserted or deleted between a pair of existing nodes. Inserting with a double linked list. Michael well case 1 inserting an arbitrary position in a non-empty list and case 2 inserting at the beginning of the list. Deleting a node in a double linked list. If moving a node an arbitrary location due to the use of sentinels, same implementation can be used for deleting the first or the last node. Di sini ada basic implementation of a double linked list. Ini ada class double linked list of best plus slots element dicoba. But ada M T M X M Taylor get the first dapat Microsoft dengan E untuk self sudah belajar masuk next lalu ini L Excel plus MP plus MP macros MP X so keyword so this So, um, so, 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 version glass instead of was satu tenang sampun kita tenang. Kalau kita yang satu udah selanjutnya di positional list ini. The abstract data types that we have considered those for namely stack queue and double-ended queue will allow update operation that occur at one end of a sequence or the other. Consider the perfect queue example or a customer waiting for saving a service. What if a customer wants to leave the queue before seeing the ticker counter? What if someone is waiting in line to buy ticket allow a friend to cut into line at the position. The motivates having a more generalized identity that provides a user right to refer to elements anywhere in a sequence and to perform arbitrary insertion and deletion. In array-based sequence, integer indices provide an and excellent means for describing the location of an element or the location at which an insertion or deletion should take place. However, numeric indicators are not a good choice for describing position within a linked list. We cannot efficiently access an entry knowing only its index. Finding an element at a given index within a linked list requires traversing the list incrementally from its beginning or end, counting elements as you go. Indicators are not a good abstraction for describing or conversation in some application because the index of an entry change over time due to insertion or deletion that happen earlier in the sequence. For example, it may not be convenient to describe the location of a person waiting in line by knowing preciously how far away the person is from the front of the line. Di sini ada contoh seperti we used to be able to identify the position of an element in a sequence without the use of integer index. Another example, word processor, a text document can be viewed as a long sequence of characters. A word processor uses the abstraction of a person to describe a position within the document without the explicit use of an integer index, allowing operations such as select the character at the cursor or insert a new character just after the cursor. Furthermore, we might be able to refer to an inherent position within a document, such as the beginning of a particular section, without relying on a character index or even a section number that might change as the document evolves. Can we use a not reference as a position linked list provides all one-time insertion and deletion at arbitrary position as long as a reference to be relevant node is available. It is therefore very tempting to develop an ADP in which a not reference serves as the mechanism for describing a position. In fact, our doubly linked-based class has made that insert between and delete node that accept not reference as parameters. However, such direct use of nodes would violate the object-oriented design principle of abstraction and encapsulation that we introduced in our earlier lecture. There are several reasons for encapsulating the nodes of a linked list. It will be simple for user if they need not to bother about the details of implementation such as low-level manipulation of night reference of our reliance of the use of sentinel nodes. We can ensure robustness of data structure by not permitting user to directly access or manipulate node reference by preventing mismanagement by user, and encapsulation provide flexibility to design data structure and improve its performance. The position list ADP provides a general abstraction of a sequence of elements with the ability to identify the location of an element. Also provide a simple position object data type to describe a location within a list. Position act as a marker or token within the broader position list. A position P is unaffected by change elsewhere in the list unless it is deleted by issuing an explicit command. Position instance is a simple object supporting only the following method. P element, return the element stored at the position P. Position serves as a parameter to some method and as return value from other methods. Positional list editing support the following assertion method. First, return the position of the first element of L or non F or non if L is empty. L last, return the position of the last element of L or none if L is empty. L before, return the position of L immediately before position P or none if P is the first position. L after P, return the position of L immediately after position P or none if P is the last position. L is empty, return the true if list L does not contain any element. Land L, return the number of elements in the list. Either return a forward iterator for the element of the list. The position list also include the following object method L at first. Insert a new element E at the front of L, returning the position of the new element L at last. Insert a new element E at the back of L, returning the position of the new element L at the for P E. Insert a new element E just before position P in L, returning the position of the new element L at the after. Insert a new element E just after position P and L, returning the position of the new element. Replace the element at position P with element E, returning the element formerly at position P. L delete, remove and return the element at position P and L, invalidating the position. Observation, the first and the last method of the positional list ADT return the associated position, not the element. The element at the position can be obtained by invoking element method on the position. Our first element in the list, our last element in the list. The advantage of receiving a position as a written value is that we can use the position to navigate the list. Because the ANT includes super overladen iter function, user might rely on the traditional forward syntax for that before retrieval of a list number that L at plus B L 8 B L plus B 8. Jadi L after implementasi 8 B 5 C L before positional lists implementation using global link lists. Proposition is method of proposition loaded and runs in WordPress or when implement with a doubling list we rely on the double best class for our low level representation, provided a public interface in accordance with the positional list edited to define position was the position within plus of the positional list method my and upgrading again then all position is then static balance is among therefore the define a key and use special method position cost to carry all of the such as well, So, in a method of deposition list was also the application as a full method we want to verify that composition is valid, and if so, to the remainder underlying not associated with the position, which functionality is implemented by a non-public method non-valid. Internally, a position mentioned a reference to the association of the list and also the reference to the list instance that contain the spaceship. Not the container pressure can represent in a color conservation stand that that does not belong to be indicate release. You can also be the appreciation instant that belongs to those, but the purpose turn that is no longer part of those. The development of the best classics in the profession and exposures of the development to mount. We can recognize the combination related the cricket note. Sharpen operational lead, we implement certain sort of data remain into variables, other marker, people, and law. Market determined process of the current research portion of audit. So what the profession gets after the marker and what the market from the marker as well as there remains of in all with the research and the people. Case study are maintaining access frequency effort is in review for maintaining a collection of element while keeping track of the number times each element is access. Example, a browser that keeps track of the user most access URL, a music collection that maintain a list of the most frequently played song by a user. Provided this APP should provide the following method access priority, incrementing its access count and adding it to the favorite list if it is not already present. Remove the favorite from the favorite list if present. Top and creation of the key most accessed elements. The favorite list is sorted every time an item is accessed. It counts its environment and its association effect is attachment in the list using a pain stimulation insertion sort algorithm. It use association list as the underlying the data structure. Each element of the association list instance of class item having element value and count. Provide method to access and remove the item from the list and print out. Corporate, there are no public need to search for the item and update the list because key method is an absorb list of the corporate every time an item is accessed, its count is implemented and its position with the list is updated by using lookup method. Using a list with the move to front heuristic. In previous implementation, the method access E is programmed in time proportional to the index of E in the public list. That is, if E is the key most popular element and the public list, then it takes all the time. Ability of events once element is accessed is more likely to be accessed again in the near future. Web page visit by an user. Futuristic text and advanced of liquidity of programs playing the performance of the method. Idea to is to move an element all the way to the front of the list each time is accessed or not. Of course, if that this element will be accessed again in the near future. However, the solving order is the worst to the heuristic. Cylinder, for example, is general in which we have an element and the following series of full exist. Start off with the move to prime heuristic. And the operation does not maintain the element of the properties ordered by their access file. When you are asked to find the most accessed element, we need to search for them. We'll implement the top seed method as follows. We copy all entire of our properties into another list named M. We scan the family list times in each tab. Find the entire right the large access on the mode is transcribed on them and whether in an workshop. The implementation of methods of a or and time judgment that is constant method tolerance in. However, if there is proportional to n, then tolerance in O n to time. Example, everyone to documentation of this. Best versus our basic width. Percentage of our base tokens are required all long-time access to an element based on a figure index. In contrast, And list provides all the time to access the element or on any and it reversing backward in double list. Operation with equivalence is sympathetic typically run constant factor more efficiently with an best structure versus a weak structure. Best representation typically use relational as memory data structure and a container express only for elements to which this memory is required for storing not only element but also reference to others. Advantage of linked sequence, linked structure provide broadcast time bursts for the operation, leaving in time contrast the more bytes loss aside with the expansion or contraction of dynamic array. It's essential for real-time system. Linked structures for all one-time insertion and deletion or at arbitrary position differs in step converge to the sequence, for instance, ensure or pop method of Python's plastic and was and for operating at index as it's required to shift all the subsequent element. And summary will cover the following topic in the structure, the limitation of area sequence where numbers are required, different type of list, unit involve list, shiftful list, or open list. We prevent an implementation of double and using list. We study an implementation of the linked list or positional list where meta reference will be used location indicator within rules. We implement one case study of maintaining operating as on its access point and the last to study the relative operation between arrays and linked sequence.